Hello my dear viewers, welcome to my channel. My name is Malena and this video is going to be a little bit more of an entertaining and fun video and a little bit of a story time. You will get to know me a bit better, at least with regards to my past, because I will tell you all the side jobs I have done in my life. You might come from a country where it's not common to have side jobs. In my generation, and I'm from Germany, it is quite common for students, even when they are still in school, I mean in high school and not yet in college or in university, to have a side job, to earn a little bit money on the side, to be able to afford more. I worked a lot. I was a really hard-working woman, but those side jobs not only, of course, helped me to maintain life, but they also brought me a lot of experiences in many different areas, and they widened my horizon and gave me a perspective. In some of those areas, it is really interesting to have been on both sides of the spectrum. Just one example, to sleep in the most luxurious hotel rooms, the same hotel rooms that I have been cleaning as a maid in the past, because that was one of my side jobs. So it is really interesting to be able to have this perspective. So without further ado, I just want to introduce a little bit, and now we will start. We will come to the interesting part. I will list all the side jobs that I have done, and I hope I won't forget anything, because I had more than 15 side jobs, but around 10 categories of jobs. And I will just tell you all of them from the beginning until the end. So my very first side job, I was still in school, I was 16. So in Germany, when you're 16, you can have a side job as a student at school. So I immediately used this opportunity so that I can buy more beautiful clothes and just can be able to afford more. And my first job was a shop assistant in a shoe store. So that was my very first side job. Then I advanced to a shop assistant in a baby clothing store. So that was already, I already had experience. And that was also a nice, good brand. Then I changed to a large department store that already had different areas of clothes, men's clothes, ladies' clothes. That was also, of course, a totally different experience than being in a small little shop. And my last shop experience, that was already when I started studying at the university, was in another shop, just one single brand, clothes for adults. I have to say that I also had some side jobs simultaneously, especially during my studies, because I just wanted to earn money, and as a student, at least when I was studying, it was quite flexible. So it wasn't like I had a super fixed schedule. I could really schedule my courses and exams, etc. in a quite flexible way, and it was the advantage. So alongside this job as a shop assistant, I was also working as a trade fair hostess. And I did many trade fairs during the years. And of course, those are always like 4 to 5 days in a row. And then there is nothing again. And then you again have like 3 days and then nothing. So this is something that I did in between when I had time. I worked on trade fairs that were very professional, only for professionals, such as medical trade fairs or industrial trade fairs. But I also worked on trade fairs that were really crazy, open for the public. For example, games trade fairs where you really see crazy people, or the motorcycle trade fairs where a lot of half-naked ladies in small outfits. Thank God I didn't have to wear an outfit like that, but I had a job once and it was like the most uncomfortable job for me. So I was working at this motorcycle trade fair. It was already during my studies. They called me very, very like short term because a hostess got sick. So they told me, please, can you come? We will pay you double because the client really needs two girls. And it will be like a short and nice top. And because that was for a brand that makes light bulbs, and you will have like light bulbs on the outfit that will glow. So I said, okay. I went there and the outfit was smaller than I thought. It was really a hot band and it was kind of crop top with lots of light bulbs on it. And I'm really, really happy that was a time in which social media was not yet like it's now. So there are no photos that exist from this time. But yeah, I have to say that it is a little bit embarrassing. But okay, so what was my job? I had to stand next to a Ferrari and do pictures with the visitors. If I knew that it was such a like not very demanding job in a way, that was this kind of job like a promoter, I wouldn't have done it because I really never liked promoter jobs. And sometimes in some trade fairs you of course had to also do promoter jobs like distributing flyers or some other things. I always preferred the more professional jobs where I was doing product presentations, where I was advising clients and really working together with the staff. But that was mostly the case on the professional trade fairs. So then also simultaneously I was working as a model, and I was working as a model on smaller fashion events that were organized by local shops and local stores, and also showroom events. So some smaller exclusive shops in my hometown, they organized like showroom events for their clients, and there I was presenting the newest clothes for their clients. So this is what I also did. The next job that I got was a very professional one, and I was so happy to have it. I became a student assistant at university, and that was really my opportunity for later, especially in my area. I'm a linguist. It is really important to gain experience in the academic field. So that was quite good. And it was also an easy job. I worked in the library and also I did the job of a secretary. So it was more of an administrative job. But note that during all this time, I was also doing those occasional jobs like modeling or trade fair hostess. What I totally forgot is that I also had an occasional job as a belly dancer in an Arab restaurant and together with my belly dance university group. And the next job is a little bit different, and I also did it only twice, and that is I was a grid girl. And I'm still a little bit embarrassed, but I mean, it's a job. So maybe you have heard of those grid girls or seen that are working at car races. But there are differences. So there are grid girls that are really, really dressed very sexually, and they're only for like, looking good and for animation and promotion. I was more, I was working for a German car insurance company as a grid girl. So we had decent outfits at least. So it was not that bad. But still I was standing in front of racing cars with those kind of, don't know how you call them, numbers. And walking in a line with a lot of girls all dressed the same. And then, alongside the student assistant job, which I did really almost during my whole studies, I became a tour guide at a cathedral. At the cathedral of my hometown or small city. And it is a quite known cathedral. A lot of tourists come there, a lot of groups. I worked basically for the church, from grid girl to cathedral worker. You see, I saw it all. But it will become even more interesting, so stay until the end. That's not all. So now we are at church. I was working as a tour guide in the church, in the cathedral, also in the treasury of the cathedral. And that was really interesting. And this is the job in which I really, really became more confident, in which I lost most of my shyness. Because as you know, I have always been a little bit shy. And in the other jobs, I could still like hide it. But if you are standing in front of a group of people, and I had groups of all kinds of people. I had the Lions Club or the Rotary Club, so super cultured, intelligent, older people who visited the cathedral. And I had school classes, like small children, or just normal tourists, mixed groups. So it was really so diverse, and I had to adapt to all of this different kind of people and teaching them. And I loved this job. Also, I got a lot of tips. So that was basically the best job of all the side jobs that I had, I have to say, in terms of earnings. But it was already after my studies, like in the transition period. When I found a full-time job, of course, I had to quit. What I also did, I worked as a dance teacher. And that I also did a little bit later, already working full-time. So when I started being a dance teacher for sensual dances, and I started for kizomba, a social dance and a couple dance, I was already confident enough to speak in front of groups. My last side job as a tour guide gave me this opportunity to learn how to talk in front of groups. So when I was a dance teacher, I already had a totally different charisma, and I had no fear anymore in speaking in front of people, and that was really beneficial for me. I have been a dance teacher until recently, actually until the Corona crisis started. Just that after Corona I could continue, but I just decided to not teach anymore, because now I have this little passion with YouTube. So this also demands a lot of time from me, and that's why of course I cannot do everything. It sounds quite confusing, but as I said, I did many of those jobs simultaneously. So when I came to Berlin, to this city where I am living here for my first full-time job, I quit the dance teacher job. I later on started again here in Berlin, but in between, when I came to Berlin, I wanted to earn a little bit more on the side. I got a side job as a restaurant hostess. So I basically worked in a 5-star hotel restaurant, greeting the guests and like doing the reservations, accompanying the people to their table, etc. And that's what I basically did. But because it wasn't good with my timetable, because I had a full-time job, I then changed to another job inside of the same 5-star hotel, and I became a maid. So I basically cleaned the rooms and prepared the rooms for the night. That is called turn-down service. So that's not really the cleaning that the maids do during the day or in the morning, but that's just like arranging the room if there is something to do, maybe changing the towels and preparing the room for the evening. Sometimes we also had to clean, because of course, if the room was very, very dirty or very used, then it was also our task to clean it. And that was, of course, very, very hard to do, especially the bathroom or toilets, etc. And I can tell you that this job really, really taught me a lot. And believe me, you will lose respect when you see how some of those people behave, what they leave in their rooms. And I don't want to go into detail. I'm sure that every one of you who is working or employed at a 5-star hotel knows those stories. Those are experiences that also made me more aware of the work that maids, waiters, cooks, service staff is doing, because this doesn't happen by magic. People that clean your dirt, that pick up your things, you have to respect those people the same way that you respect everyone else. I know that when you haven't seen the other side and you only see one side, sometimes you might forget that there will be someone who will clean up behind you. And that's why also I never, I mean, of course, when I'm in a hotel and I paid for it, I'm happy that they clean and tidy the room. But I will never let any filthy dirt or whatever behind me, just thinking, oh, not even thinking about the person that will clean it. Because this same person, a few years later, might be sitting at your table next to you. And then I advanced again. I realized that the job as the maid was really, really hard, and it made me so tired, and I really couldn't do it together with my full-time job. So I was looking for something less physical and more like something that has to do with networking, where I could also maybe make some contacts, meet some people, and it worked. And well, with all my experience, it was easy for me to get a job as a receptionist in a members club. So in my city there are, as far as I know, 2 members clubs. I started with the one that is less exclusive, but it's still very exclusive. It's a private members club, of course. People have to pay a high amount of money to belong to this members club. There were many business people, but there were also embassy events. And during my work, I met some people, also thanks to my language skills, that I am still friends with today, and through which I got the opportunity to be invited to embassy events and diplomatic receptions. And then, you know, one thing leads to another, and you meet other people, and combined with my professional work, and it really all started with this side job at the members club. And it's not that I would say that you will certainly meet important people that will open doors for you. It's not that easy. Because the thing is that although I had a master's degree, those people, they didn't know that I'm actually a professional, I'm working, and I'm just doing that as a side job, and I have actually a master's degree and I speak 5 languages. They perceive you as service staff. And that's the problem with jobs in those kind of environments. You might think that you'll be able to meet people that will help you with getting a better job, or maybe enter another social circle, but it's really not that easy. In most cases, you will be perceived as service staff, and this will kind of make you invisible. So it is always better if you have the opportunity to get into those areas, not as an employee, but as a guest. And now, of course, it's possible for me, thanks to the network that I built. I can just say that I was lucky that I met one person that introduced me to, let's say, in this case, to the diplomatic world. And actually it was also an area that really fits very well to my background and to the job that I'm doing now. But that was not the last side job that I did, because the last side job that I did was in the most exclusive members club of my city. And with the experience in the less exclusive one, which is still very exclusive, I finally got the job as a receptionist, as a side job, in this very exclusive, very expensive members club that charges multiple times more than the last members club to their clients. And the clients are really the high society of my city, of the industry, politics. I thought, oh wow, now that's gonna be the opportunity. For sure I will meet people that will help me to get a better full-time job. But it was much harder to get in touch with the people than in the other members club, because they were just not accessible. So the distance between hosting staff and the clients was much bigger. We also had to communicate in a different way. There was no real opportunity for small talk. I also didn't want to work anymore. It was just too much. It was exhausting me. And I finally realized that I'm simply not willing to work anymore on the side. I had the full-time job, I still have it, and so the only thing that I was then doing is the dance teacher, because that was only once a week and it was manageable for me. COVID came and dance classes ended and well, now I have my YouTube that I'm not earning money with yet. I hope that this might change in future, but at the moment it just costs me money. But it really makes me happy. I can be creative. It's really like my little passion. And I hope that my video was interesting for you. And I can only say all the jobs I did made me the person that I am now. I am proud. and thankful that I had the opportunity to get insight into so many different areas, into so many different professions. I really got insight into the lives of those employees and those kind of jobs. And it also made me really appreciate my office job that I have, because many jobs, physical jobs, or jobs that really deal with a lot of clients and service, are very exhausting. I have so much respect for all those jobs. I think I won't have another side job anymore, except something that I can do from home. So for now I'm done. But I hope you enjoyed this story time, and please tell me in the comments how it is in your case or in your country. Did you also do some side jobs as a student maybe, or during university, or maybe also alongside your main job? Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious, and I will see you in my next video, and give me a thumbs up if you liked this one. Bye bye!